Okay, so we're going to be talking today about capital growth and positive cash flow. But what I really wanted to talk about to start off with is, does anyone love property? Let's put our hands up. It's kind of like when you meet that guy or girl for the first time and the love affair that you have with it. Well, with Property Secrets, we all love property, and we get told all the time, you know, you're working 9 o'clock at night, you're working 7 o'clock in the morning. There's a bit of feedback at the moment. Can we get that taken away? And so basically, you can't do that unless you really do love property investing. So at Property Secrets, you're in luck because we actually do cater. If you want to do renovations, we can help you with that. If you want to do it yourself, we can help you with project management. If you want to do buying, we can help you with that. If you want to do it yourself, we can give you some pointers. Probably the biggest thing that we do have out of all the divisions, unlike our competitors, is that we do have free coaching. We have free property coaching. So what that means is that you can actually come in and see us at Leichhardt. We are in Sydney. You can come in and see us at Leichhardt, and there's free property coaching ongoing, free seminars, free education, and we also have property trips as well. With the property trips, you actually get out and touch, feel, smell. Walk into the properties, see what we're doing as far as buying, see what we're doing as far as renovations, granny flats, developments. So in regards to coaching, finance, buy, renovate, manage, protect, granny flats, developments, and eventually you get to a certain stage when you follow a certain process that you actually do get to a stage where you do have a great lifestyle. So we wanted to talk about today what we don't buy to start off with. And for anyone that might be a competitor in the room or here at the expo, this is personally me, what I don't buy. And if you study not so much what the people are doing here, but let's talk about the billionaires. People that are billionaires do not buy units, do not buy townhouses, do not buy off the plans, house and land packages, flats, don't buy any of those products. They buy development sites. And straight away people, when they think about development sites, they go into a lockdown mode and say, well, I don't want to buy development sites, Paul, because they're about 2 million or 3 million or 50 million. It's not the case. We can buy around Australia, not just in Sydney, we can buy around Australia for $400,000 or less, and you can build 2, 3, 4 townhouses on it. Duplex, triplex, you can do that. So, off the plan, house and land packages, strata title, units, apartments, land only, inner city or expensive properties is what we prefer not to buy for our clients, because it's not what we buy for ourselves. A classic example, I had 4 properties in Leichhardt. Everyone knows where Leichhardt is? Put your hand up. Would you say that that's a good area, bad area, good area? Norton Street, I came to Leichhardt 25 years ago. I was 83 kilos, I'm now 105 kilos. Thank you very much, Leichhardt. So the food there is fantastic. And what we found with property was that in 2002, everyone remembers that it was a boom in 2002 in Sydney. For those people that have had properties in Sydney that haven't developed, it's been boring the last 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. So we're talking about cycles. So in regards to Sydney, what we found with the last boom was that I had 12 properties out west that I bought for 80,000, and I had 4 properties that I had for 650,000 in Leichhardt. At the exact same time, Leichhardt went up 30% with the boom of 2002, 30%. And we sat there going, yes, we've made so much money. But then when we had a look at the Western Corridor, where we had invested in Blacktown, Liverpool, Campbelltown, Penrith, they went from 80 grand to 350,000, 80,000 to 350,000, 300%. And the Leichhardt properties could not be developed into 2, 3, 4 townhouses, didn't have the zoning, didn't have the land size, didn't have the council approval, could never get the council approval. But the ones out west could. So I sat there saying, these Leichhardt properties cost me 20, 30 grand a year plus land tax, can't be developed, but over here, for a cheaper product, they're putting 5 grand into my pocket and can be developed. So we're talking 30% growth, 300% growth, and we haven't even developed yet. So, interesting. Off the plan, just some quick points. There is nothing worse than hoping and praying that a developer's future estimated value will be correct. I don't know if anyone has been successful in off the plans, but all I can do is tell you as a property coach that's in his prime, I feel like I'm in my prime. I see a lot of people, about 16 people a day, one after the other. And it would be 1 in 100 that come to me and tell me a great story about an off the plan where they've made money. And it will be 99 where they've said, lost Dad's house, can you fix it? We've exchanged unconditional, Paul, we heard you're Australia's leading property coach, can you help us? And you know, when you get to that stage and you've gone that far, I believe that I'm the best in Australia in regards to property coaching, but I can't help you when you're in a contract situation because already you've bought off the plan, I believe it's the wrong product. It's a finished product and there's only 2 people making money, the sales agent that sold it to you and the developer that's in BRW Rich List. Because they've bought all the land, cut it all up and you've purchased one of them. So a couple of points is banks will restrict in regards to lending, normally say that you need 20% deposit. Sometimes you'd be able to go as far as 10% deposit. Valuations, you better hope and pray. We had a guy that came in and said, use my dad's house, it's worth $1 million. Bought a place for $3.5 million in Coogee. The builder said it would be worth $4.5 million in 2 years' time and it came in at $3 million. His father went bankrupt and so did he. I couldn't help him. So growth uncertain because the property purchase price could be loaded. So in regards to off the plans, you know that there's kickbacks that could happen. And I don't want to make this too negative, but there's always kickbacks that could happen. Sometimes they're transparent, sometimes they're not. But every time they load that price, then what happens is that you end up paying for it. You might get the valuation, but then is that value going to be there? And can you add other dwellings to that product? No, you can't. House and land package is very similar to off the plan, but people say, but Paul, there's land. And I say, yeah, but it's a finished product. It's not a product that you could even do the most easiest development of all, which is a granny flat. You can't even do a granny flat on a house and land package because the developer has cut it up so small, has cut up the land so small that basically you're talking 250, 350 square metres of land. And the current legislation is 400 square metres for land to put a granny flat on. So you can't even do that. So you're stuck forever with one house and land package repayment and one rent. And at best you'll be neutral, or at best you'll be positive cash flow, but you'll never be able to have 2 rental incomes versus 1 loan repayment, which is what we'll be talking about later on. So it's about product. Why are we buying these products? Strata title investing, again, we're buying units, townhouses, villas or apartments, flats. When you buy that, you amputate 50% of future buyers. Can I see if anyone knows what the 250% are? Any guesses? I'll give you the first hint. The first 50% is mum and dad investors, first homeowners, hardcore investors, yield investors. What's the other 50% of buyers out there? Developers? Someone said developers? That's correct. So developers buy 50% of the market and the others, the rest of us buy 50%. Together that's 100%. When you go and buy a unit, if I'm a developer, will I turn up to your auction? If I can't develop it, you've amputated me because you've bought an inferior product. Investing in land only. I speak to a lot of big builders and big developers that buy $20, $30 million sites and they say to me, Paul, it takes us 5 years sometimes. 5 years to go through council, 5 years to actually go and cut all that up, and then a further 6 months to a year to go and sell those properties before we start getting any kind of income into these developments. So they've got to hold it, and there's a tipping point until they go, you know what, we're going to lose money here, we have to sell, or it got council approved, great, let's go ahead and start cashing out. But when you're land banking, you want to have it so it's not cost land banking. You want to have it so it's no cost land banking, and I'll be speaking about that later on. Inner city investing, again, I just spoke to you about my personal experience. I love Leichhardt. I don't like the 20 kilos that it gave me, but I love Leichhardt. So basically, what it comes down to is that every single property was $20,000 or $30,000 a year holding cost, plus land tax of say $4,000 or $5,000, plus cost, plus. You're talking probably $35,000, $40,000 if I was to be real for each property that is in Leichhardt. Now, we've been flat for say 9 years, almost 10 years. We're talking 4 times 40 times 10 years. Whatever profit you think you're going to be making, and I'm not saying that Leichhardt's not bad to invest in, but you've got to make sure that you can manage and fund those holding costs until the next boom comes, if you're going to be holding. So what we do buy, we normally buy a place like this in the Western Corridor, 25 to 45 minutes from the CBD. And our renovations take 2 weeks, and that's about $30,000. So straight away, we go, okay, well, we're similar to the house and land package guys, but the land size is around about 800, 900 square metres, and the zoning is 2C, 2D, 2E. It's different. We can do things right now. We can put 3 or 4 townhouses right now. But we've chosen to just renovate first. Let's just take it nice and easy. $30,000 for a renovation, done in 2 weeks, not 8 weeks. And here's some of, and so basically from that point on, we have the option of doing a granny flat. Now notice with our granny flats, we just went to Perth just recently. My team and I went to Perth because Perth, as far as buying, has been coming down and been hit hard like Sydney for the last couple of years. Good buying when it's at the bottom of the market. And we spoke to the granny flat builders there and we said, look guys, the 2 biggest granny flats? Perth Home Improvements and Granny Flats Western Australia. And my team and I said, look, how many granny flats would you guys build per month? And the first company said 7, and the second company said 9. At the moment in Sydney, we're doing 16 to 20 per month, and we don't even specialise in it. But we add it as a second income so that while we're land banking and waiting for capital growth or waiting to develop down the track, it's no cost land banking. First thing. Second thing, if you notice there that the frame is not on a slab, it's on a steel frame. So when we do go and develop, we can pick that up, move it to another one of our properties, or like a second-hand car, we could sell it to one of Property Secret's investors. Instead of at $60,000 for a one-bedder, we might be able to sell it to you for $45,000 for someone that doesn't have the $60,000. So they can be on-sold. You don't have to demolish them. And again, this is the difference with us. We actually think all the way through from start to finish. We actually start with the finished product first, saying that we want to buy development sites and build townhouses one day, and we'll come back to the start all the way to actually buying that property. A little bit different. That's the end product there. So basically, if you have a look in the top left-hand side there, that's the front house. The front house was purchased, say, for around about $300,000. Renovation was done for $30,000. Granny flat was done for $60,000. Let's say total cost is around about $400,000. The front house is rented out at $350 a week, and that's quite conservative. And the back granny flat is rented out for $250 a week. So now we've got 2 rental incomes at $600 a week versus a $400,000 at 7%. We're positive geared in Sydney, unheard of. Plus, no cost while we're land banking. Plus, it's a development site. Plus, what happens at year end, if you wanted to fix the rates, it's a 3-year fixed rate at 6.99. That'll guarantee that you get $5,000 a year positive geared. Don't need a job, don't need a tax check. If you do get tax checks, if you're not self-employed, so this is great for self-employed because self-employed, when you're buying an off the plan, they talk about depreciation and everything else that's coming back. Doesn't apply to self-employed people, right? Because we don't show high incomes, so we don't pay much tax, so we don't get much money back. But you guys that are self-employed don't realise that till it comes to tax time and you go, well, hang on a second, these property spruikers sold me this off the plan saying that it was positive cash flow with depreciation, but we don't benefit because we can't claim it because we're self-employed. So it's when that happens is that you actually find out that you actually had to pay 10, 15, 20 grand for that property where you thought you were going to be positive geared by about, or positive cash flow by about 1,000.